600.
You're watching WYMT.
Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, the University of Pikeville cuts the ribbon on its new Sportsplex, how the facility will benefit students and the community. And President Joe Biden had some strong words about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. What he said coming up.
Plus, a chilly night is on the way, and that's ahead of a nice weekend to come. The latest on what this means for high school football coming up as Mountain News at 5:30 starts now.
Dedicated to Southern and Eastern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The University of Pikeville unveiled its newest athletics facility earlier today. WYMT's Jordan Mullins has more with UPike officials, coaches, and student athletes from the newly opened UPike Sportsplex and the impact this facility will have on the entire university.
Officials with the University of Pikeville, the City of Pikeville, and the City of Coal Run gathered at the new UPike Sportsplex for a ribbon cutting, welcoming folks in for a tour, bringing state-of-the-art equipment and facilities for student athletes.
You can't find that anywhere, so it's close to campus. Their parking is great here. It's a safe place for them to come. We've got it very well staffed. Just a very uplifting type thing for the student athletes.
The Sportsplex is now the official home of UPike's golf, bowling, wrestling, and archery teams, but many of them have been in the facility for weeks prior to the grand opening, making it feel like home and getting those first practices under their belts.
We've been fully going on the mat for the past 2 weeks. The first 4 weeks have been more strength and conditioning, but it was like Christmas Day when I was a little kid when we got to actually come in here and practice for the first time.
The facility is also a wonderful recruitment tool, drawing in the best of the best from across the country to Eastern Kentucky.
When student athletes come to any of these facilities, they can't help but be really excited and enamored about what we have. And very few schools have the luxuries that we have, especially at our level and levels above as well.
All while making these teams even more competitive.
Winning is pretty much, that's the goal.
That's the only option.
That's the only option. Like, we're gonna go to this tournament this weekend and we're only gonna think about winning.
A university that continues to grow with students that strive to be the best. In Pikeville, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
UPike Athletics Director Kelly Wells says the partnership between the university and the cities of Pikeville and Coal Run are crucial to provide bigger and better opportunities for students.
Well, a wonderful evening in progress around the mountains. Still watching a few clouds pushing through, but not too big of a deal out there. However, once they do clear out, that's when temperatures are going to start to tumble. A look outside right now from Moorhead along Interstate 64. You see the clouds kind of socked in at the moment. 63 there. Taking you to downtown Whitesburg, where, yes, we're starting to see those clouds move in, at least for the moment. You see temperatures that were near 75 earlier starting to drop in Middlesboro and Jonesville. Now it's 73 in those 60s, making it a little further down to the south now. Jacksboro, though, still at 75 where those clouds have yet to move in. This is that cold front pushing through the region. We'll be dealing with it as we head through the evening. Our Appalachian Wireless game of the week, Perry Central taking on Johnson Central up at Jim Matney Field. 60 at kick, 54 at the half, 52 as we finish things off, but we're going to continue to cool things down rapidly as we head through tonight. I'm talking frost potential for some of us. Breakdown on that coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Evan, thank you. President Biden made a chilling assessment last night about how close he thinks we currently are to a worldwide nuclear catastrophe. The president made the remarks about Russian President Vladimir Putin's war on Ukraine at a Democratic event in New York. CBS's Astrid Martinez is in New York with the latest.
President Biden's off-camera comments at a Democratic fundraiser in New York are prompting discussion around the globe. Referring to the 13-day showdown that put the U.S. and Soviet Union on the brink of nuclear war 60 years ago, the president said, quote, "We have not faced the prospect of Armageddon since Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis."
Mr. Biden's comments here last night come amid Russian President Vladimir Putin's threats to use, quote, "all necessary means to protect Russians" amid the country's war against Ukraine.
President Biden said Putin was, quote, not joking when he talks about potential use of tactical nuclear weapons or biological or chemical weapons, because his military is, you might say, significantly underperforming.
Well, I think the message to him is if you use a nuclear weapon, it's a suicide weapon. And the response from NATO and the United States doesn't have to be nuclear.
Last Sunday on Face the Nation, former Trump administration National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster said as the Russian military struggles in Ukraine, it might be on the verge of collapse there.
We have not seen any reason to adjust our own strategic nuclear posture, nor do we have indication that Russia is preparing to imminently use nuclear weapons.
On Tuesday, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the U.S. has seen no change to Russia's nuclear forces that would require a change in the alert status of U.S. nuclear forces. Astrid Martinez, CBS News.
This was a closed-door fundraiser, so the president's comments were not on camera, but the president also said, quote, I don't think there is any such a thing as the ability to easily use a tactical nuclear weapon and not end up with Armageddon. End quote. Mr. Biden also voiced concern about Putin's off-ramp out of Ukraine, saying, quote, where does he find a way out? Where does he find himself where he does not only lose face, but significant power? A police officer just hired by the Uvalde, Texas School District has now been fired over comments she made on the day of the school shooting there. Body camera footage shows Crimson Elizondo arriving at Robb Elementary minutes after a gunman opened fire. She was a Texas state trooper at the time. When the district hired her, she was already the subject of a state police internal investigation. CBS's Lilia Luciano has more.
Elizondo was among the first Texas troopers to arrive at Robb Elementary on May 24th. Body camera video shows her enter the building and wait for instruction while the gunman terrorized students and teachers.
He's going to be armed with a rifle.
In new footage released by CNN, you can reportedly hear her talking with other officers and saying this.
If my son had been in there, no, I would not have been outside, I promise you that.
In a statement Thursday, the Uvalde School District cited the CNN audio in its decision to fire Elizondo, writing that what she said is not consistent with the district's expectations. But documents obtained by CBS News reveal that the district hired her even after the Texas Department of Public Safety informed them that she was under investigation for actions inconsistent with training and department requirements.
What was your reaction to those comments that you heard her make on video?
It's sickening. As a parent, how do you say that? You know, how do you not just go in?
Brett Cross is the uncle of 10-year-old shooting victim Uzziah Garcia. He's been camped outside of the district's administrative building for more than a week, demanding that all school resource officers connected to the shooting response be fired or suspended.
Are you satisfied that this officer was fired?
I mean, I wouldn't call it satisfied as much as why the hell did they do it in the first place?
In their statement, the district apologized to the families of the victims for the pain that Elizondo's comments may have caused, but they did not address why they hired her in the first place, having known that she was under investigation. We reached out to Elizondo for comment, but have not heard back. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, New York.
Now, late this afternoon, we learned the Uvalde School District has suspended its entire school police force and placed 2 school officials on leave. The school district sent a news release saying it was a result of recent developments. According to the statement, the officers currently employed will fill other roles in the district for a period of time. Lieutenant Miguel Hernandez and Kim Mueller were placed on administrative leave. However, Mueller has elected to retire. The statement said it has asked the Texas Department of Public Safety to provide more troopers for campus and extracurricular activities, and the district is confident staff and student safety will not be compromised during the transition. Coming up on Mountain News at 5:30, it's no surprise that the pain at the pump is getting a little bit worse. A deeper look into what's behind the rising prices.
Well, it's quite a chilly one on the way next couple of nights, but that's offset by some beautiful days. The breakdown on what it means for the weekend coming up.
WYMT News app offers alerts on breaking stories as they happen, customized to the categories you choose. The WYMT News app.